Hello and welcome to my simple flow sequence. It is okay for mixed abilities, so whether you're a full-blown yogi or you're very new to it, this should be quite a nice, easy one to either get back into it or continue your practicing. So let's give it a go. So we're just going to start by lying on our mats, supine on your backs, getting nice and comfortable. So what I want you to do is really take notice of your breath now, so just get nice and comfortable, letting those feet fall open, palms facing up, a little bit away from the hips, and just really feel yourself on the mat. So just get everything else outside of the room that you're in and just become one with the mat. So let's focus on some breathing here. So if we do 3 good breaths, in through the nose and out through the nose, just to ground yourself and to calm yourself down. So in through the nose, nice big inhale, and then exhale, nice and long. If you do need to breathe out through the mouth, then do, but as much as you can, try and keep it in through the nose and out through the nose. Lifting that belly and that chest like a balloon, inflating, deflating. When you've done that, I'm just going to ask you to blink open your eyes and then just activate those toes to get them pointing up to the ceiling. And we're just going to start our mobilisation stage. So we're going to take a nice big inhale, bring our hands up above our head, and on the exhale you're going to bring your right knee into your tummy or your chest. Now for some of you it may look like this. For others that are feeling a little bit more flexible, you might be able to get it close to your chest. So wherever you can get it, as far as you can get it, that is absolutely fine. Trying is as good as doing. So once you have your knee tucked in, and don't hold on your knee joint, hold just below. I'm just going to ask you to just turn your ankle, circle your ankle 3 times on each side. Then you're going to inhale, drop that leg to the mat, extend those arms, and then the same on the other side, just pulling that left leg into your body. And again, just turning that ankle 3 times on one side, 3 times on the other. And then arms go above the head. And again, taking your right leg, but this time clasping fingers behind the thigh, sole of the foot to the ceiling, and you're just going to flex those toes back and forth 3 times. Then just gently lowering that leg, raise those arms above the head, and then same on the other side. So clasp your fingers behind your left thigh, flexing those toes 3 times back and forth. Arms above the head, gently lower the leg. And this time I'm going to invite you to bring both knees into the chest or the belly. Full wind pose, nice tight hug. If this is not available to you, that's fine. You can do 1 foot on the mat, so knee facing the ceiling, and then just hold the other leg, and then just swapping over. So whatever's available to you, don't strain or push yourself too hard. Listen to your body. So if you are with me in full wind pose, you can either now stay still, or you can just gently massage and rock side to side, massaging that lower back. And now we are going to turn on our sides. So whatever side's comfortable for you, just turn on your side into fetal position and just stay here for a couple of breaths. We don't want to rush the transitions. You don't want to make yourself dizzy. And then when you're feeling ready and in your own time, you're going to use that top hand just to push you back up into seated. And then we're going to meet here on our mats in seated pose. Okay, so you're going to choose whatever pose for your lower body here. So if you want to sit cross-legged, you can have easy cross-leg. If you're full-blown yogi, you've been doing it for a while, you want to do half lotus, full lotus, whatever is easiest for you. But whatever you choose, we're going to start with your right leg in front of the left, and I'm going to try and mirror you, okay? So I'm going to straighten up that spine, sit bones on the mat, fingertips raising the mat, nice, strong, lift that chest. Inhale, straighten the spine, brings that right arm up, and then just a gentle bend to the right. And then just flow nice and gracefully back down to the mat. Inhale, brings you up, straightens that spine. Exhale, takes you to the other side. And then just gracefully returning that hand. Okay, so now you're going to put your right fingertips in front of you and your other hand behind, and you're just going to turn to face your right side of your room. And then just gently turning back and swapping those hands over, so your left hand should be in front now, and then just turning to the other side. Gently turning back to face the front, and walking your hands nice and slowly, keeping your sit bones on your mat, nice gentle forward fold. And then just stepping those hands back towards the body, putting them behind you, and then just opening up the heart and shoulders, lifting that gaze ever so slightly, and then relax back into your seated pose. Now I'm going to invite you just to bring your legs out in front, give them a little shake out. Now I want the opposite leg in front, so your left leg should now be leading and in front. It's just to balance everything out. Yoga is all about balance. What we do on one side, we must always do on the other, otherwise it'll feel a little bit incomplete. Okay, so fingertips are grazing the mat once again. This time we're going to go a little bit deeper than what we've just done. If you want to stay with what we've just done, then do that. Please don't feel like you have to progress, okay? So if you are going to progress with me, follow me. If not, just do what we've done before, just don't go as deep. So listen to your body today. So inhale, brings your right arm up to the sky, straightens that spine, and exhaling, but this time try and get your forearm onto the mat. So we're going that little bit deeper, elongating the side of the body and just looking up to the ceiling through your armpit. And then gracefully and slowly coming up and then swapping over. So bringing that left arm up and then forearm to the mat. Really feeling that stretch in the right side of the body, looking up to the ceiling, past your armpit. And then slowly and gracefully coming back, fingertips to mat, keeping that spine nice and straight, shoulders away from the ears, neck nice and relaxed. So now you're going to take your right hand and put it on your left knee, and the other hand's going to go behind your body, and this time we're going to try and turn all the way to look over our shoulder, keeping those sit bones facing forward, just twisting the top half of your body and then slowly unravelling and then swapping over. So left hand on right knee, other hand behind, and just turning around to look over the shoulder. And then slowly unravelling. And this time we're going to take it a little bit further. So we're going to put our hands behind our bodies and our shins and ankles are going to push into the mat. Then you're going to lift your gaze slightly higher. So your hips and your buttocks, your thighs are all lifted off the mat. And just gently lowering. And again, I invite you to bring your feet out in front of you just to give them a little shake out. Okay, so now we're going to move into our last part of our mobilisation. Here I'm going to invite you to fold the middle of your mat, and the reason I ask you to do this is just to protect those knee joints. Okay, so the knees should be hip width apart, tops of your feet down on the mat, and your hands should be like stars on your mat because you're going to be putting a lot of weight through the palms of your hands into the mat. Now if you have any wrist issues here, aches, pains, weaknesses, then you can also fold the top just like this, okay? And if at any point when we're in this position you need to come down, then feel free to do that, okay? Don't just, cut up with pain and get to the end. Always find ways to make it more comfortable for you. So having those fingers fanned out wide, we're going to do some cats and some cows. So we're going to inhale into our cow, drop the navel to the mat, lift the gaze, relax the shoulders and the neck, and then you're going to exhale, rounding that back, navel to spine, push the mat away from you into cat. And then you're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and then exhale pushes you into cat, push that mat away. That nice round shape in the back and the shoulders. Dropping the belly, inhaling, gaze up, and exhale, round the spine, round the shoulders, push the mat away, and then back into neutral tabletop. And I'm just going to invite you now to push back into child's pose. Just have a lovely stretch here, and then coming back up into tabletop. Now we're going to make our way into downward facing dog. We're going to do it in stages, just not making it too easy for you. Okay, so what I'm going to invite you to do is to untuck your toes, place them on the mat, and And you're just going to hover ever so slightly, just a couple of inches off that fold in your mat. And then lower back down, untuck the toes, back into cow. And then again, I'm going to hover a little bit further above that crease in the mat, pushing the buttocks back. And then lowering back down, untuck the toes, release that spine into cow. Now we're going to go to full downward facing dog. So let's all meet in downward facing dog. Now this will look different for everyone. If you need a little bend in the knees to release the lower back, then please feel free to do this. Not everyone will get their heels straight down on the mat. It will take some practice. However it looks for you, and however it feels for you, as long as it's not hurting, should feel no discomfort, no pain. And feel free here also to add some paddles in the legs. It's kind of like an active relapse. And then I'm just going to ask you to really carefully step the hands back towards your feet, and then keeping a nice bend in those knees, just walking your hands up your body, up into standing, round those shoulders and down. I'm just going to untap the fold in the mat, so we don't want to be tripping over here. Okay, so now we're going to go back down onto our knees again. Again, if you need to tuck the mat like we did just now, after I've just asked you to untuck it, then feel free. But you may not need it as much for this pose. So we're going to start with camel pose now. So if you are new to this, or you need a little bit of extra protection for your lower back, then tuck your toes under, and it will help with balance also as well. And I've got the wall behind me, as you can see, in case I'm feeling a bit wobbly a bit later on. Okay, so if you're with me in untucked or whether you're tucked, it doesn't matter, just go with what is best for you. So we're going to put our hands on our hips just to get used to getting into position, gaining our balance. Now I'm going to ask you to just put your hands on your lower back as if you're putting your hands in jean pockets and just leaning back ever so slightly, just to get used to that bend in that lower back, and then gently coming up. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is have your left hand on the hip, and the right hand is going to reach back for your right heel, keeping that gaze forward. And then you're going to really gently come out of that, and you're going to swap sides. So your left hand is going to touch the left heel, keeping that gaze forward, and then really gently coming up. Now we can progress this, you can stay as you were, or we can progress this by having our left hand up right in front of us where our gaze will be. And our right hand is going to reach for our right heel. It's keeping that lovely straight line from fingertips to fingertips. And then really gently coming out of that, which is hands on hips, and then swapping over. So right fingertips are going to go where our gaze is going, left to the heel. Just enjoy those lines in the arms, and then gently and safely coming out of that. Wonderful. So now I'm going to invite you to just come back into downward dog. And then if it's available to you, I'm going to ask you to bring your right leg forward. So if you need to guide that forward, then feel free to guide it. Remember those fingers fanned out wide. And then your left hand is going to come in close, so it's next to your right foot. And we're going to open up, so we're going to turn into dragonfly. So we're going to twist towards the bent knee and just gaze up to the ceiling to your fingertips. And just hold that for 3 breaths, in through the nose and out through the nose. May feel a bit wobbly, as you can see I am. Just breathe through it, and then just bring that right hand down. Now I'm going to ask you to drop the back leg, untuck those toes, and then just safely and slowly with the transitions, bring yourself up into crescent moon and bring those hands up. And then put them into prayer, so palms together. And then if you can, and your balance is allowing, a gentle bend to the right. And then coming back up to the middle. And then hands come down, and then back into downward facing dog. Then we're going to do the same on the other side. So if you need to assist your leg up to the top into runner's lunge, then that's fine. Right hand comes parallel to your left foot, and then you're going to turn towards that bent knee up into your dragonfly. Nice strong lines in those arms, and breathe through the wobbles, and it helps to have a wall near you. 3 breaths here. And then replacing that hand on the mat, dropping that back leg, making sure this bent knee is not bending over your ankle. It should be above the ankle, not bending over the ankle, because that can be quite wearing. And just bringing those hands up above again. Breathing through it, so breathing in and really sucking in those lower tummy muscles, because it's really good for toning the core and building strength. So again, hands together. Then we're just going to do a gentle bend to the right, and then coming back up into the middle, and then a gentle bend to the left, and then coming back into the middle, and then bringing your hands down, and then safely coming back into downward facing dog. Okay. And again, if you need to paddle out the legs here, then please do. Now I'm going to ask you to bring your knees down to the mat and walking the hands out. So your knees and your hips are going to stay up, but the top half of your body and your forehead are going to come down on the mat. Okay, if you want to use a block here, then feel free. And this is puppy dog. It can be quite intense on the shoulders, so if you do feel any pain, then experiment with where you put your arms. You can even have them and then put your head and rest them on your arms, or you can just have them out straight in front of you like this. And if you can stay here for 3 breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. And then just really gently coming up. And then we're going to transition onto our backs, like we did in the beginning. And if it's available to you, I'm going to ask you to hug both knees into again. Just massaging that lower back into the mat. If this is not available to you, I'll remind you what I said earlier, is you could put one leg down, so foot on the mat, knee facing up to the ceiling, and just having one knee pulled in at a time. If that is easier for you, then go with it. That's absolutely fine. And just having a little rock or staying still, whatever you're choosing to do, it's completely up to you. And then from here, I'm going to ask you to have your hands out by your side, and then just dropping those knees to your left and your gaze and chin to the right. This is really good for massaging the internal organs. It's a little bit like wringing out a flannel. It feels better than it sounds. Just enjoy that lovely stretch there. And really gently, if you need to guide your knees back into the middle and then just letting them drop to the other side. So hands out by your side, knees drop to the right, gaze and chin to the opposite side on the left. Just breathing through that lovely twist. Stacking those knees. Again, if this is not available to you, you can use a block under the knees. There's an option there. Or you can just have less of a bend in those legs. So whatever is most comfortable for you, just listen to your body. Just because you can't do it today doesn't mean you can't do it tomorrow. Okay, and just gently bring your knees back into the middle. And then we're going to go into our final Shavasana. So we're just going to let your feet fall open on your mat, so they're completely relaxed in the ankles and the feet bones. And we're going to have our palms facing up, a little bit of distance between your hands and your hips, and just closing your eyes. And just letting your body absorb all that you've just done. So just let the mat take your weight for a few good breaths here. So let's aim for 3 breaths, in through the nose and out through the nose. And when you're ready, if you just blink open your eyes and just bring some life back into those fingers and toes. rolling your ankles and your wrists, and then just turning onto one side. So again, like I said earlier, you don't want to rush transitions, because one of the benefits of yoga is it lowers blood pressure, but sometimes too much of a good thing. You can find yourself getting quite dizzy if you're moving too quickly in and out of poses. So just take your time, and then using that top hand to lift you up into seated. And then I'm just going to ask you to bring your hands to heart centre, nose to fingertips. Namaste, and thank you.